everyone. Today I'd like to introduce you to Sun Summit Minerals, formerly San Marco Resources. And during our presentation today, I will be making some forward-looking statements. During that, I'd like to caution you to review this slide at your leisure. The Buck property is located in north central British Columbia, just south of the Golden Triangle. And I would like to draw your attention to the Blackwater deposit, which is marked on this map just below the word Huckleberry. I will be referring to that property as we go forward in our presentation. The Buck property is located just south of the town of Houston, BC. It's a resource-based town where forestry and mining has a long history in that area. The access to the Buck property is about a 20-minute drive on an all-weather gravel road from the town of Houston. It allows for year-round exploration access, and there's ample power, rail, major highways, all within 20 minutes of the property. The Buck property is in an area of former mines, most notably Equity Silver Mine to the east. Placer Dome Gold Corp property was in production for many years, silver and copper. Also, notably, the Huckleberry Mine of Imperial Metals, the copper mine, was in production for many years as well. And current exploration activity in addition to the Buck property is the Silver Queen property immediately south of the Buck, being explored by Equity Metals, and as well as the Copper Mountain Fenton property is currently being explored as well. One of the key parts in the acquisition of the Buck property was a long history of exploration, primarily in the 1960s and in the 1980s. This included rock chip sampling, soil sampling, IP, drilling, as well as mag. Now, there was after our acquisition in the summer of 2019 of the Buck property, we spent many months compiling all the historical data and putting it into a database to especially see what the historical drilling was telling us. Going through the process, we did find most of the historical drill logs, most of the historical assay certificates. However, there was no drill core. So we then decided in February and March of this year that we should probably do a modest drill program to get some fresh core to really look at what led us to this property in the beginning. And that was historical drilling showed long intervals, meaning up to 200 meters of near surface gold, silver, continuous mineralization. So we felt that we should do some additional drilling and get some fresh core in that regard. Most of the historical drilling was done on what we're looking at here as the horseshoe zone and the trench zone. And so we drilled about 1,800 meters in February and March, and we did confirm near surface gold silver mineralization that is very similar to the Blackwater deposit that I mentioned earlier on in the presentation. We can see on this slide that it is near surface and it's very continuous and it's open in all directions. During the summer of 2020, we decided that we really needed to do some detailed structural work and detailed geological mapping to really see the extent of these long intervals of gold and silver mineralization in the limited drilling that we did in last winter. So we managed to engage two fellows that are experts in this field of Chris Gallagher, who's a geologist who specializes in structural analysis and 3D modeling, and as well Christopher Leslie, who is an economic geologist. And Chris was with the Richfield Ventures geological team in 2008, 2009 in the discovery drilling process of the Blackwater deposit. So Chris's involvement in the Buck exploration program has been instrumental in us generating a large area for ongoing exploration. One of the things that we see in the Buck property is a tremendous similarity in some of the geological controls and general geology between Buck and the Blackwater deposit. Now, some of you may know the Blackwater deposit was sold by New Gold to Artemis a few months ago, and I believe Artemis raised $170 million as part of that purchase process. So we think that we have a similar geological environment. Now our task is to drill and try and find the extent of what we see in the similarities. On this slide, the green dots that we see are the current drill locations of 10 drill holes that we've completed in the last couple of months, just over 4,000 meters. And as part of the analysis that the two Chris's have done over the summer, we've generated these what's called a structural corridor and the BRECCIA complex. So the blue dotted lines that we see here are not limits, but a west-northwest trending structural regime that appears to have some controls on the basic mineralization for gold and silver at Buck. So we've got a few holes in a very small area of this structural corridor. And of note, the Buck North zone is a new discovery by a multi-element zinc, silver, arsenic, lead soil anomaly. The Bob zone to the west is a new zone that has not been explored at all. And so our one piece of the puzzle that has just come to light is we just received the results a couple of days ago on an IP survey that we completed with modern technology over the main area of the Buck property where we are exploring. This IP survey we have not had an opportunity to analyze it in detail yet, but for this presentation, I wanted to just show that this is a slice at 300 meters below surface. There was some historical IP done on the property in the 1980s that saw down to, at best, 100 vertical meters. So what this slide is really showing is the potential of the Buck property, and especially in a couple of areas that have not been explored or underexplored. Buck North, Bob zone, and the Trent zone. There's a new anomaly that's shown up to the west of where some historical drilling was, very short holes, 100-meter holes. So we have ample area for expanded exploration. And it will probably take us a few weeks to go through this IP in detail and really try and define a possible relationship between the gold and silver mineralization and the various chargeability highs. One of the things that we mentioned a few minutes ago was the BRECCIA complex. So what I'm showing is some examples of drill core from the current drill campaign of what we call a mosaic breccia, and it's very obvious to see in some of this drill core that the surrounding matrix of these breccia fragments is very much massive sulfide mineralization, which is primarily sphalerite, pyrite, and marcasite. Now, zinc appears to be a bit of a pathfinder for the surface exploration, and also appears to be associated with gold in historical drilling, albeit not always. As well, there are many different types of breccias at Buck we've defined so far. We have hydrothermal breccias, magmatic hydrothermal breccias, volcanic class-bearing breccias. The mineralization, as we can see on this slide, is also vein and veinlets and disseminations. So there's a very large array of types of mineralization. And as you can see here, we have drilled in our current drill campaign to depths of over 400 meters in some areas. Now, most of the drilling that we have done so far is in the small area of the horseshoe zone And all of the drill holes so far have intersected fairly lengthy zones of sulfide mineralization. There are obviously various types of mineralization, as I mentioned, some disseminated, some BRECCIA related. And so our ongoing drilling of this phase of drilling will continue well into the new year. And part of that program is going to be to try and integrate, as I mentioned, the IP results with what we see in the drill core. Now, part of, we are waiting for assays. We expect the first round of assays to be coming in for our current drilling, hopefully in maybe 3 weeks or so. We're not absolutely sure, but there is a tremendous backup at the lab, and I think most companies are experiencing that. So we are looking forward to those results, and they'll be released as they're received and analyzed. As I mentioned, the Buck property allows for year-round exploration, and we will continue through into the new year with the drill program, and it's not necessarily related to the number of meters that we're going to drill. We will just continue to drill, and based on results, we just don't know how far that will go, but we're very enthusiastic what we see in the drill core at this point in time. As far as the share structure for Sun Summit Minerals, we have approximately 50 million shares outstanding, about a $15 million market cap. Our cash is just over $3 million with all drilling paid for up to this point that we've currently completed. Of particular note are all-in drill costs, meaning drilling, geology, assays, accommodation, the whole arena is around $200 a meter, which is very, very low compared to other exploration properties in northern BC that may require air support, helicopters and camps, etc. So we're a new player in the area of north central BC. We think we're onto a very large area of very good mineral dispersion over large areas. The area we've drilled is open in all directions. We are able to continue with our top-notch exploration team to monitor our drilling and be involved in logging the core and on the go forward process. And we are able to continue drilling throughout the winter and year round, which will lead to continual news flow for our shareholders on a fully permitted exploration program. So with that, I think that's pretty much the wrap up for Sun Summit Minerals. Thanks very much.